Hello! I am Nicole and I'm the White Cloud Mystic coming to you live from my new office in Austin, Texas. Welcome. I'm going to adjust the camera just a little bit so you can get a better view of the working surface. And I need to direct my eyes over here, I guess. I haven't done a live in landscape before, but I figured it would be easier to see everything that's going on. All right, so today's session I will be doing a distance energy healing session with one of the subscribers of my channel named LC here on YouTube. And what I will be doing is connecting with their energy, sensing everything that's going on, their emotional body, their physical body, their mental space, everything that I can experience. I will explain that, everything that I sense, I will express to you. And then I will go ahead and check the chakras and start the work, start the healing work. And what I do is a combination of both Reiki and also just intuitive guidance. I like to connect with my higher self, my higher being, and my guides, and I ask a lot of questions. So I will tell you that when I'm asking a question like, well, what should we do next? And I'm always just listening, and I believe that that gives the healing session a really powerful additional, magic, woo energy by connecting in. So I'm gonna go ahead and sit over here, and I already spent some time setting this space energetically. I created kind of like an egg shape of energy all the way around this room, and I apologize if there is a little bit of an echo in here. I am getting a new microphone set up for next live, but I wasn't able to get it set up for this one, so next week audio will be better. I apologize. But so I have an energy already set for this space. It's only allowing those things that are for my highest and best good and LC's highest and best good to enter. And yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and get started. It's been a little while since I've done a live, so I feel a little bit rusty with my camera self, but that's fine, we'll just keep going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be quiet for a few moments while I, hello there, while I connect in with LC's energy, and then I'll go ahead and explain what I'm sensing right away, and we'll just get to work. And I always make sure that I connect with their guides, my guides, and make sure that the working is for their highest and best good and my highest and best good. That's very important. So we're not removing things or doing any work that isn't, supposed to happen. I only do things that are for their highest and best good, and that is actually very important. So if you are a healer or you work with someone, you want to make sure that they aren't just doing things that their mental mind thinks they need to do, but that they're kind of led to just do what's best for that person. Okay, so connecting in with LC. Okay, so I'm connecting in, and first I'm sensing that think it's safe I can refer to Elsie as a female. So I'm going to just use she pronouns. So she has a very soft energy. I'm sensing a lot on my right side. It's very light and gentle. It's almost almost like a breath of fresh air, just like very light. It feels really, really nice, really good. It was almost a little bit difficult to sense her going right in just because it feels so pleasant. She feels really pleasant, so that's nice. Okay. Okay, so there's a combination with that though. There's also, I'm sensing a lot of rigidity up the spine, which is interesting. Almost like a pole, like going straight up the spine. Very, like there's a rigidity there. That part's a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, so if you haven't watched one of these lives before, I just kind of build. What I do is I experience different things, and then it's kind of like a mystery unfolding itself. So we get initially that kind of really light, airy sensation, maybe the soul energy, and then also this really rigid along the spine. So now I'm going to feel more of her physical body. Again, more of that rigidity. And I'm sensing some, I don't want to describe it as tightness. Let me think about that a little bit more. Yeah, there's almost a sensation of like kind of collapsing in a little bit right at the solar plexus and the rib cage. So that's a physical sensation that I can feel. And then I feel a lot of activation in the third eye and the crown. So kind of opening up potentially. Okay, then I like to go ahead and check the chakras. And in the past, I have always checked the front side of the chakras, but I haven't actually spent a lot of time on the back of the side of the body with the chakras. And during my break, I was doing a lot of studying and research, and we need to pay attention to both the front and the back. So I will be adding that in to make sure that everything is balanced. Our energies are all about being very balanced. So we don't want just the front open, we want the back too. So I'm going to go ahead and check the chakras using a pendulum. The root is just one chakra. Okay, so there's a little bit of, I'm researching also. So right now there's this horizontal swing going on, and that indicates being grounded, but in a way that she's not necessarily connecting with the spirituality. Being grounded in a sense with peers and in her body with in the like those around her. It's not like a full open. Same with the sacral. Her solar plexus is open and spinning, and this is the front that I'm doing first. Strong, open, and spinning on the solar plexus. The heart is open and spinning. Throat open and spinning. Third eye open and spinning. Crown open and spinning. So that's pretty cool. And now I'm going to energetically basically flip her over so we can check the back chakras as well. So that would start with the sacral. Okay, so it's doing that horizontal swing again. The back of the solar plexus is open and spinning. Heart is open and spinning. Throat open and spinning. Third eye open and spinning. Crown open and spinning. Wonderful. So we're gonna flip her back over energetically. And so basically her top 5 chakras are already open and spinning. So a lot of good energy is already flowing here. These 2 are open in a way, but we would like them to be fully balanced with spirit, as well as the earth plane and peers and other people. So that's something that we can work on. Next, I'm going to feel over her emotional body. So when I feel over the mind, I'm actually getting a lot of almost like anxiety pressure in the chest. It actually feels like heartburn. Sometimes our emotions can exhibit themselves in very unique ways. So something that's happening in her mind right now is actually appearing as like this heartburn sensation. And I think I'd want to separate the physical from that emotional, just so we can get a little bit more clarity in a little bit. Throat feels good. A little bit of that is just this like almost like a light burning sensation, not anxiety, but it's like heartburn. It's interesting. I'm trying to, there's an emotion here and I'm trying to describe it. It's not, maybe it's a mixture of light fear. I think just general worry. Okay, and I do feel a general disconnectedness with the sacral and the root. And what I'm getting for that is not really wanting to connect with those areas, like maybe not wanting to connect in with like sexuality, or not wanting to really connect in with these energies, like just leaving those like on the back burner, not wanting to spend effort there. And so spending a lot of energy being open up here, because this is a little bit just don't, like, she doesn't want to spend time there. Just like, I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. So it's not allowing a natural flow. But when we deny a little bit of ourselves because we are uncomfortable with like an idea or expectations, that can prevent the natural energy flow, and we ideally want to be able to flow all the way through so we are healthy and whole and full of our own power and energy. So we can open these up, and it doesn't have to mean that like she has to approach topics she doesn't want to, because these energies can be expressed through creativity or like other, it doesn't have to be around sexuality or any of that. It can be expressed in a different way just by feeling embodied and comfortable in the body. Okay. right, I'm curious where that rigidity of the spine is as well. But I think first I'd like to address the that heartburn sensation with the mind. Okay, so I'm just going to start by offering some, for the Reiki practitioners out there, some Seiheki to her mind. And that is a very balanced and loving energy all on its own. And I apologize, there is a garbage truck going to be traveling by, and my dog may bark in the other room during that. I am getting the sense that there are some energy blocks here, there's like a bit of pushback, like that doesn't want to be addressed. Sometimes our energy blocks don't really want to get attention, so I'm feeling that a little bit, like rigidity. And I'm going to go ahead and raise my vibration and raise her vibration just to make us connect a little bit easier, especially with some distractions. It's easier if I like go up a lot higher. So I'm going to go ahead and do that too while I'm offering this. Okay. So it feels like there's a general impedance of energies kind of overwhelming the mind. Just adding a little bit too much pressure, almost like squeezing. So we're just going to create some space around that. And that actually may be why it feels like almost like a vice, like her energies, like if you can imagine someone getting pressed on all sides, like it's going to form this feeling of rigidity where there's just like, there's not much movement and pressure, this internal pressure like a fire, which could be that sensation of the, that heartburn. It's just like being pressed on the sides. Okay, and now I'm sensing a bit of the grief or sadness. We're going to go ahead and allow that to release. LC, as you're watching this, if you're watching this, you can go ahead and do some deeper breathing and maybe a little bit of movement. It feels like you've been kind of stuck a little bit, so you can go ahead and do a little bit of movement, do some deeper breathing while we're doing this. There's quite a bit of pressure. External pressures. It's strange to me that it's coming from the sides though. That's unique. I haven't experienced that yet. Normally I feel it's coming from the top, or so it's interesting that this is coming straight from the sides and kind of just squeezing her a little bit. So what I'm doing is just kind of pulling all that pressure out and away from her to give her a bit more space so she can loosen up. Okay, I'm going to just offer some love. There's definitely an energetic disconnect from the top half of her body to the lower half. So I imagine there's an energetic block in here. But it feels like I don't know if it's an external block or more like a self-imposed block. It actually sits way out away from the body. I'm just going to ask what this is and how I can process it easier. All right, so I'm getting it's like the delights of childhood. I wonder if maybe she felt like she needed to separate from like being silly and being just genuinely like natural, being very childlike. It's almost, it's interesting. Curious if this is part of her energy, just kind of floating above her. All right. I think what we can do actually is to reincorporate this energy of hers, but I'd like to make sure that she would be okay with receiving it if there is a reason this energy is outside of her. There's a lot of sadness here and confusion. So it feels like, Elsie, you had maybe not an experience, but maybe just a phase of life where you felt like you couldn't be, silly and childlike and have all of that joy. And you kind of just removed it out of yourself. You denied it out of yourself. And that's kind of why I feel this energetic disconnect. That is just right here though. It's not even far from you. So I think we can go ahead and help bring that back to you. You can always maintain this childlike innocence. I know that in peer groups or life circumstance, it doesn't always feel like other people will accept us for being innocent or childlike or fun, but it is part of you, and it is a beautiful energy that it would be, I don't know, it'd be like losing a part of yourself. It's a part of you. If you don't feel comfortable sharing this part of you with others, you don't have to. You can maybe spend some time with just hobbies by yourself to really allow that part of yourself to shine, because it's a really, it's like happiness, you deserve this beautiful energy of happiness, and it's missing from you. It seems like you're taking on too much, just too much pressure. You're trying to, you lost that childlike movement, the naturalness. But I think I'll ask first to see if you're okay with receiving this. But it will help you feel more confident, because when we deny ourselves, parts of ourselves, we actually lose confidence, because we're separating ourselves. We're not whole anymore the way that we could be. So when we are fully open and accepting and loving of all our different attributes, we are able to, truly sit in ourselves and be ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, there's just quite a bit. First, I'm going to clear that out before we can bring that back in. It just hasn't felt very safe to be that way, I think, is the issue. And that could be that peer pressure. So when the pendulum was swinging this way, it's almost like peer pressure. There's our garbage can, sorry. So what I'd like to do before I go ahead and bring that energy back in, I want to almost create like a protective bubble around you, so you feel a little bit more safe in your environment. And this is something you can do yourself. Sorry, there's the dog. You can, like if you would like, you can wear a piece of jewelry or something that reminds you of creating a protective circle. You could also email me after, and I would be happy to kind of charge something for you so you can feel safe in your normal life. So I'm going to go ahead and help create this protective sphere around you, just so you can help, feel comfortable before we go ahead and bring that beautiful childlike energy back in. Okay. And it's not just me. You have guides and helpers, protectors. You just have to call upon them and ask. But I can sense, other beings here to assist in this process for sure. And they'll hold this space for you. It just takes a little bit of your conscious effort to create this space around you. I keep hearing, we'll hold the line. So you have some energetic beings already around you, and they're going to help protect this line for you. And when we are in an energetic bubble, we can still experience, regular life, but we can feel safe and whole in our own energy in this protective bubble. So that's why it'll make it easier to feel safe as we kind of reincorporate part of yourself to yourself. Okay, it already feels like the worries and pressures around these two areas are loose. I think we could go ahead and receive that part of you. Yeah. Okay, so it's a So I'm basically just allowing it to be kind of guided back in. Okay, and I can feel that rigidity. That's not natural to you. They're almost like iron bars just going up your spine. Those are not natural to you. I'm gonna go ahead and slide those out. It feels like, I don't know if you did it intentionally, but you're taking on a lot of maybe the desire to just be, I don't know. It's your natural reaction, and it makes sense. When we get a lot of pressure on the sides of us, we're going to kind of tighten up. So I think that's just what happened. But we don't need that. You don't need to have that be like your habitual state, because you have this really fun and playful energy that could fill your whole being. But we've got these poles here. And right now it feels safer to have them. But we added this energetic protective circle around you. And when you are full up of your own energy, you spread out, like you impact the people around you. I know right now it feels like peers are impacting you, but when you can be full of yourself, you end up actually impacting those around you in a positive way. I'm trying to slide these poles out because they don't really need to be there. And that's fine. I'm always asking too, is this okay to do? And this is fine. Okay. And now I'm feeling a block of the throat. You just haven't felt like you could fully express yourself in a while. You've been tight, hiding, squeezed. Not even hiding, just squeezed. Let's get these out. Now we're going to continue to allow that natural energy she has to come in. I'm also going to keep adding a healing energy to the throat chakra. I'm feeling it kind of smooth out over her being. And I'm wondering when that full saturation or integration into her being, when I'll start to feel that. Because there's still quite a bit of just fear around that. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that back. There's like a layer of fear, which is trauma. Little experiences add up and they create this coating. That's what's happened here. There's a firm coating that's kind of just preventing energies from coming in. They're little traumas. They're not, we think that we're protecting ourselves by blocking our energy, and we don't do this consciously. It just is natural. It's almost like an M&M, that hard coating. That's what it's kind of like. She's got this M&M coating, but it's preventing the good stuff from coming into her. So pulling that off, and you're gonna feel a lot better when you're back to your whole self. And again, I'd like you to email me after and we can do a chat about this. I feel like you could use a little bit more talking about how we could integrate this work. I mean, we can chat here too on the live, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can email me after. Okay. Oh, now we're shifting in. Okay, that worked. It's interesting, I'm getting like all these imageries of like angels and angelic things, like feathers and like angel wings. Sometimes I get, you know, messages and pictures in my mind. I'm just saying what I see. I don't know if that has to do with her, maybe just this like angelic being, purity. Oh, so much better. That feels really good now. Wonderful. I'm going to see how her chakra, her root is doing. Okay, so that's open and spinning now from that work. Solar plexus is also open and spinning. The back of the solar plexus is also open and spinning. Wonderful. So LC, we did a lot of work here, and again, I really want to chat with you more, either with the live or after, just to help you integrate this. And I'm going to reinforce this protective circle. I'd like you to think of either a piece of clothing, a piece of jewelry, or you could do a spray on yourself, something that you can put a lot of intention to have this protective circle, and to do that with your guides and those energy beings that know and love you and work with you already. Just something you can put on and connect with, so you can feel a bit safer to be this really pure and lovely self that you are. We have to protect that, and so you can be who you are. Okay, and I'm feeling that you're very grounded too. It's really nice. All right, I'm going to close this session. I'm going to ground her fully back in so she doesn't feel super spacey for the rest of the day. Oh, she just feels so good now. Okay, and I'm going to seal this. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm going to disconnect from that session. Okay, I'm going to, let's see. I haven't worked in this space yet to see where I'm going after a session. For the question and answer part up here, I guess. Just grab my water or a tea. Okay, actually I probably will lower this camera so I can hit the chats. Excuse my face, right in your face. Thank you so much, says LC. You're so welcome. And again, I'd like to chat with you after, if you don't want to do it here, which is fine. Okay, let's see. Oh, thanks, Dandelion. She says, beautiful new space. Thanks, I'm so excited. And I am offering, hi Salish, I am offering live sessions, well, in-person sessions here in my office in Austin. So that's pretty exciting too. I didn't really have a lot of people up in the forest of northern Michigan, so things are changing. Let's see, did anybody have any questions about this session or anything at the moment? I do have a question on standby from Jose. He couldn't be here today. Let's see. This is a live plant I just got from a cool little succulent store. It was delivered. I had the debate of getting a fake plant, but definitely went with a live plant. Dandelion, do you offer astrology readings? I used to do a lot of astrology, but I don't really anymore. My sister does, though. I could pass you along to my sister. She has studied a lot more than I have. If you're interested in that, she's a lovely astrologer. She doesn't have a internet presence. Awesome. She says, yes, please. Yeah, that would be cool. I will pass you along to her. Just curious, what color is my aura? Okay, so I am currently working on being able to see auras. When I'm doing a session, sometimes I will see it, but I haven't found, I didn't really understand how auras can be really helpful. I just spent a lot of time studying this book over here. I'll grab it. On my long drive across the country, it was 3 days in the car, I listened to this book on audiobook. And this woman, she uses the aura to really do a lot of really cool work. And I didn't know it had such a helpful, practical application. So I've never actually worked hard to open my ability to perceive auras, but I am starting to work on that now. So maybe in a few weeks I'll be able to really see them, and I'm actually going to be making some guided meditations to assist people in being able to do that, because I'm going to use them too. So probably the next one it will be to help enhance the ability to perceive auras like that. At the end, when your energy was fully in, again, I was just getting all these images of like a really like a really light yellow, like angelic, it was super angelic imagery, but I can't say exactly if that was your aura or if that was just what I was perceiving in that moment. Sorry. And if maybe in a few weeks to a month, I'll be able to, say. Do we have any other questions? With this move, I also have really good internet, so I'm hoping that you're able to see me and there's no weird lag time like there used to be. I'm having a hard time. I'm going to switch this up so I feel like I can't lock. Oops, just kidding. Next week I should have a web camera, so I should be able to look at you. I feel like I'm not looking at you at all. Celicia is much better than last time. Yeah, we just had awful internet there. Okay, Dandelion, can you see the recipient's spirit guides like physical manifestations or mainly just feel their energy? It's a similar thing. It depends on what is shown to me, what I perceive. I haven't spent a lot of time focusing on that because I've been focusing on the feel of energy. I've sometimes, like for Jose, who's not here, but in his live session, it was the Virgin Mary who came up, and I could see that in my mind's eye. So I saw like a figure with the blue robe come up, and it was just like, oh, that's the Virgin Mary. Okay. So sometimes I can perceive them that way. Sometimes I just perceive them as like a light being. So it's tricky because it's not with my physical eyes that I'm seeing them yet. But based on this book, I potentially can develop that. Right now I'm just relying on, in my mind's eye, what is received here. So it's how they show to me, and I don't really put my focus on trying to see them necessarily, because that's not, like, I don't find it overly important in that moment. It's more like, all right, what are they telling me? How can we use this for healing? All right, so it's more perception than visualization. Yes, yeah, so you're receiving that information. It's not like forcing the mind to do things, it's having the ability to receive the information, receive, inspiration. It's being able to have your mind be open and clear, like in that meditative state that we're always working toward. When you're in that state, you can just receive messages. Either you hear things, you see things in your mind's eye. Again, the aura study, though, is interesting because in her work and in different scientific studies, I guess there's actually a particle that happens around our bodies that the cones of our eyes, so our eyes are made of rods and cones scientifically. The rods are where we're like really focusing in and looking at something. Like I'm still trying to figure out, I think the camera's over there. Just trying to figure out. So the rods we use to like see things, but the cones is more like where we receive through our physical eyes. And I guess when you're actually seeing auras, there's a particle there that you're actually picking up. So I don't know if, energy beings, if they have particles. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a particle that we can actually see also. I'm curious, so eventually I'll explore that too, but it's first is auras, because the things that you can, as a healer, work with and see with auras is phenomenal according to this book. So that'll be priority one, receiving it through my eyes, but right now I receive it in my mind. So similar but different organs, I guess. And while we wait for another question, I'm going to grab Jose's question. I set it over here. Okay, and Jose isn't here today. He says, okay, at work I feel different from my coworkers since I started meditating. I feel their negative attitudes and energy. Should I let them know or should I stay away from them, is his question. And that's a really great question because I know a lot of us feel that way. We can sense people's energy. I have found that pointing it out isn't really helpful in general. And it depends on the relationship you have with your coworkers. If you are like true friends with them, where if you could, speak to them heart to heart and they are open to receive that, then you could maybe talk about how you can sense things now. Like if you feel comfortable opening up and sharing about meditation and sharing all of that, then it's probably a safe relationship where you could, explore talking about how you yourself are feeling energies now. And, if it comes up, I wouldn't necessarily be like, hey, you're really negative, your energy's awful, I don't want to be by you. Or, granted, I say that and sometimes I do that to my husband. So you're like, whoa, dude, I don't know what's going on, you gotta meditate. But we have that kind of relationship. I wouldn't do that with a stranger or an extended family member. I wouldn't do that with them. More I would use my ability to sense people and maybe ask like, hey, what's going on in your life? If you wanted to put that effort into trying to help them, but you don't have to do that. If you are finding that their energies are really kind of impeding on your own, ability to stay in your meditative space, you could kind of take a step back from them and avoid them. The only thing is, as we grow in our spiritual path, we discover that every moment of discomfort is actually a lesson for us. So when you're sensing someone else's negative emotions, there is always something there that you can learn about yourself too. So It's not always best to just, hermit up and hide from everybody, but it's a balance, when we're really stressed or we're overwhelmed, dealing with other people's is, not easy. So it's a health and boundary thing. Yeah, so I guess it depends on your relationship with them already. If you feel comfortable sharing what you're doing, you can, share what you're doing. You can be an inspiration in conversation with them, or you could just allow it to be this natural falling away process. You have different interests, so you just kind of, separating, and that's okay too. A lot of gray advice there, it depends, and yeah. Let's see. So Leash, you said that you might be creating a space for like-minded individuals. I was just wondering about it. Yeah, well, so now that I have really good internet, I will spend some more time with that. This past week is basically just wiped out from the move. I was surprised at how wiped out I was, actually. I'm still kind of recovering. That's why I haven't made a guided meditation yet, but probably in the coming months, I will look into that. I would really like to, I mentioned to Salish before that I am interested in creating a safe space for people to talk about what they're working on and connect with each other, create friendships, and just to, explain all the cool stuff that's happening. Because when we're in this spiritual awakening process, it is so exciting and you're experiencing things you've never experienced, you have questions, and so creating a space where you can do that easily is definitely something I would like to do. I currently have a Patreon account, but I'm not overly excited about the capabilities of Patreon for that space. I know that people can attach Discord to that and create a chat that way. And the other route is Facebook and doing a group there, but I'm not really a fan of that either, so I haven't figured that out yet. Okay, so Leash says, the things I have to go through when I can't talk about this is torture. Yeah, being able to have so many cool experiences and not having anybody to share it with is definitely not fun. Yeah. I'll have to put some thought into it, or ask the universe, what is this space for people? And I'm sure there are things out there already. I personally haven't joined a group like that. I know there are many out there. If you can't wait for me, you could ask the universe too, like, where is this group? Where are these people? Where are my people that I can communicate to? And then follow that line of synchronicities, of the little bursts of inspiration. You can do that to discover that space too on your own, because I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to do that. Honestly, my biggest focus right now is to kind of fill up my physical clients and my space here, just to create that financial security. Obviously, we all need an income, so this is my income. So that's kind of my priority right now, is branching out in the Austin area and getting clients both on video and in my house. So that's a bigger priority right now for me. Let's see. I missed a chat. Elsie, I actually feel more at ease compared to before this session. Wonderful. I'm so glad. Yeah, it took me a little bit to get there, to really feel what was going on. So I'm really glad that you are feeling so wonderful now. Let's see, Irene, Austin, awesome, yes. Yeah, Austin is so cool. It's such a cool place compared to where I was. Let's see, Francesca, hello. Nice to see you again. What do you do while you were doing your chakras? You see flashes that trigger emotions. Let's see. When I was checking the chakras, sorry, let me read that again. What do you do while you were doing your chakras? You see flashes that trigger emotions? Like when I do a patient, like when I'm feeling over them, are you curious what I experience? I guess I do things in different layers. When I when I'm checking the chakras with just the pendulum, I don't really, that's just the pendulum. But when I feel over the body, and again, I open up and I'm able to receive information, I receive images in my mind. Sometimes I'll hear sentences or words, and then I feel it in my physical body. I will feel the emotion of sadness or confusion or whatever's happening. I will feel it happen in my body, and that's how I do that. And that's the gift of being an empath. Empaths, and I believe it's clairsentience. When we can have clear sense, we can feel what other people are feeling. So that's what I'm using. I'm using that ability when I'm doing a session. Hope that answered the question, Francesca. Let's see. Okay. Drink some water. Next week I'm going to have a microphone, a wireless microphone on, and a better camera setup. Next I need better lighting. Taylor, best wishes to you. This was great and inspiring. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you are here. Okay. IMO. Before this, I was so stressed and super annoyed, but just your energy, even through a screen, made me feel so much calmer. Oh, wonderful. I'm glad. That is a lovely thing of being able to, when anybody can do it. You find people who inspire you and make you feel good. You can do it for your Instagram feed, your YouTube feed, the shows you watch. We are always influenced by the content and the people that we connect with. Yes, even through a screen. So when you're able to surround yourself with things that lift you up, you get lifted up, and you'd be surprised at what different content can do for people. Obviously, lots of content can bring you down. It's that question of like, well, do I really care about this show, or can I watch something else? We can really help to create a healthy environment for ourselves emotionally and energetically just through what we're watching, which is cool. And thank you for mentioning that my energy is helping lift you up, because that's really lovely. I'm glad. It's validating to me also to hear that. Okay, Irene, I feel so much more powerful with fellow empaths. Sorry, I'm reading another one too. Oh, okay, more about the chakra information. So about the being with other empaths, it is really interesting being with other empaths, especially when we can talk together, and like, all right, what am I feeling? What are you feeling? Is this mine? Is this yours? You could get into that kind of conversation with people. I don't have too many of those in my, it's like validation. It is like validation. It's, and it's a little bit, I always go back to like using those gifts for healing. I don't know why, like this channel is all about like, you could be a healer too, we can all heal. But again, you can use that validation to explore, in conversation what you're feeling, and use that to assist someone with what they're feeling. You can use it in a positive way. Let's see. So Francesca, what do I experience while I'm opening my own chakras? It depends. So usually I just do a quick opening of everything. I just put the energy in, and I'm just like, all right, open. Before this session, I spent a little bit of time actually where I was using the towel here as myself. Sometimes I will do that, and that helps me spend the genuine healing time on myself. And when I do it that way, it's basically the same as if I'm working with a client. So I get, the same responses, but it's almost double because I feel it in my own body and I feel it in my own body. So it's a pretty powerful experience. But generally, when I'm just opening my chakras, I don't put a lot of, I'm just like, quick and practical about it. All right. Okay, Dandelion, if you are an empath, how do you protect yourself from absorbing all the negative energy in the world? I sigh big for this one. I actually so before I moved, I had a long chat with my sister, and she is someone who is very similar, has the ability to feel energies too. What she did though was she basically just turned it off. And so she works in a service industry, and she was constantly overwhelmed by people. And so somehow she turned it off. And I don't know, I don't recommend that for people. I know it's possible because she did it, and I keep hearing it's like deadened. It's almost like she deadened part of herself though by doing that. But for now it's a safety thing, and when she's ready and she'd like to, she can, work to open that back up. I have actually my Reiki instructor, she had a similar story. She was very, very open as a child, very empathic, but based on her childhood, she closed that all down too. So you could willfully close it all down. But now as a Reiki healer, she's working to reopen all of that. I need to, this comes up so much in these lives, these questions about, how do we protect ourselves as empaths? How do we function in the world? And every time, it's been like a couple months now, I'm like, I need to really spend the time with that. And when I say that, I need to connect intuitively about that. I need to pull down really higher energetic wisdom about that. Through my, human self, I have advice and whatever, but those are my personal experiences. But I could do better than that. I could pull down some really good information. But I just haven't sat down and done that yet. I guess I've been a little bit busy. Been manifesting a big life transition. So, but maybe this week I'll spend some time thinking about that. And again, there was a time where I really would like to do a course too, or a group for empaths specifically, and that's still something that I'm thinking about too. And now technically I have the space in the good internet where we could, create that group. Yep. Please, that would be great, says Irene. Yeah, all right. So I need to, Salish, would that be something you're interested in too? I think you were empathic too. I don't know if, so here's a question. Yep, he'd be interested. Would we be interested in, yeah. So, yeah, I'll have to look into it. I'll have to think about it and find a way to do that. Honestly, I'd probably charge a little bit of money just to do that. It wouldn't be very much, just to help, make that make sense for me to facilitate. I don't, like $5, $10, I don't know. But I will look into that this week because I do think that would be a really helpful thing. Okay. I've been questioning whether or not I'm an empath or just emotional in general. You could do some experiments on that. So, it's interesting because I think most people are impacted by other people's energy. I think they truly are. It's just they're not necessarily aware of it. some of us are a lot more sensitive than others, and we are aware of it because it feels really dynamic. But to kind of test yourself, you could, I guess, sit in feel how you feel, just yourself, and then go out and be by someone. It could be a friend, it could be a parent or a relative, or just try to like be near someone and not necessarily interact with them, but just like be near them and see what changes. When we are just by ourselves and we have no outside influence, so it's true also with content we're receiving. If you're just like in your room, in your own space, in your own energy, you're not watching anything, you're not receiving anything, you're gonna feel what you feel. You're like, all right, so this is me. As soon as someone else, like, trying to think, you could even, maybe you could watch a YouTube video without even having the audio on, and just like, your energy might shift. If you're really sensitive, your energy would shift just from that. But anyway, you could go by a physical person and then see if you experience a shift. If you experience a shift, you're empathic. You're shifting because of that other person. Okay, let's see. We've got, do you think being empathic can make one appear bipolar? Yeah. Well, I say that, actually, let me say that cautiously. So there are a few things I've actually found personally. Obviously, being around other people's energy can have a huge impact. You could be feeling really happy, really great, and then you get by someone, or you go into a place. My goodness, I went into a gas station on my drive, and I don't know what type of violence happened in that gas station, but it was like, ugh. It was awful, and I got images and all this, but the energy shifted. But I guess I'm so used to observing energy, I don't think that it's mine. So as an empath, we get to this phase or a state where we don't just think that it's ours. We start to separate, and we're like, oh, that's not even mine. So that could be some gentle advice for empaths before we start our group, is start to work on like what is mine and what is not mine. And that's by spending that time by yourself to really figure out what is mine. And to be honest, what is mine can be a lot more going on than you realize. For example, I've spent a lot of time out of my body, so when I come back in my body, I'm like, oh, the anxiety, oh, like I have a lot of resting anxiety. If I don't spend time with that, I naturally am just anxious. So, there's so many layers. I can't just give I haven't spent the time yet to give like a course on empathic abilities, but there's a lot in there that I could explain. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna wait to really go in to that. But, the other thing I was gonna say though, is another thing that I have actually found that really can impact my mood is actually food. So I have some severe food allergies. Corn is one of them. When I eat corn, I actually get really aggressive and I get really mad. And what is the other one? Yeast. When I consume something with a lot of yeast, I get really panicked. So prior to realizing that, I've known about my food allergies for maybe 5 years now. My moods would be all over the place, but it was because of food. Potatoes was another one. White potatoes, they'll make me feel sad. Like if I was consuming white potatoes like every day, and then I would sit down and have like a breakfast with my husband, I'd be feeling fine, and then I'd eat potatoes, and I'm just like, you don't love me. Like really dramatic changes just from food. So there can be a lot of things that go into our emotional states. It's how we, yeah, it is funny. It takes like starting to be an observer of yourself. Okay, I feel fine right now. what shifted, what changed, what input happened. So it's starting to study yourself is part of that, like unraveling of what is this vehicle and how do I keep it calm. It's like a year, a lifetime study. How do I keep my human vehicle calm? Salish, I do think most people who are affected by emotions are empathic. Dandelion, what is the difference between a highly sensitive person and an empath? I hear both terms used in the same context and I'm not sure the difference. I would say they're the same. There are a lot of terms out there in general, and I like to get them all down too. It's like, it's basically the same thing. We separate a lot of things, like, for example, magic and energy. It's the same thing. Having worked with, both, it's the same thing. We just like to separate, and different people have their perspectives and they're coming at it from a different angle, so they name things differently. What is another one for? I mean, you could also say empaths are clairsentient. So you have clear sense. You can sense things. You can sense others. So that's another area of study you could go. The clairsentience is sentient, or what's the, clairsentience. So you could look into that and like people, how to enhance that and how to build that ability. So that's using your natural empathy, your highly sensitivity in a empowered way. That's the only difference. People who realize that they have these as gifts suddenly become very empowered about them, which is pretty cool. Okay. Taylor, I can relate to this very much, that I never communicated because I wasn't sure if that was what that was really going in. Yeah, I'm glad this is helping bring clarity. Irene, I used to abuse drugs to stay calm, and now I have to do sober and feel bonkers. Oh yeah. Yeah, I used alcohol a lot before I became a mom. Then I stopped sleeping, so alcohol was just like not an option because I would have been sleeping. Yeah, I think, Irene, the best thing would be to be aware of what content is coming into you in, social media, in the news. All of those things can cause an impact on you. Yeah. So, starting to be aware of what kind of triggers you. So again, it could be food, it can be content, it could be, honestly, it can be your own stuff that you're working on. And so working with a healer, working with a Reiki person to help remove those blocks. I find I'm more calm and centered when I open my chakras. So I do have that chakra opening video on here to help guide you on how to do that. That helps me feel more calm and more centered. It's just starting to be aware of, all right, what is making me feel so bonkers? What are these things? And kind of trying to set up your day to avoid things that will, bother you. Why do people close their chakras after? It's a natural process. It's not really a set it and forget it thing. The chakras, or energy in general, we're so dynamic, and it takes constant awareness. I have, I don't know, since my move, caffeine is another one. Sorry, segue. Caffeine. So caffeine, I got off of coffee for a long time, and then during our move, so it was maybe 3 weeks, basically when I stopped doing YouTube, I took a long break because I was in the process of moving, and I started drinking coffee again. And that brings anxiety too, just a natural anxiety. But for me, it actually turned off some of my gifts, which was weird. So I had to wean off and get clean of tea and coffee again. But that's another thing is, caffeine can cause a really strange effect, and it can close our chakras or make us feel disconnected. My sensitivity to feel energy went way down because of drinking caffeine, which is interesting. I lost my original point there though. Let's see. Oh, why do they close their chakras after? So that's another thing. So what we open all our chakras and we can clear out all the blocks. Like you can dig through and do a really good get your energy blocks, get all open, but life is still happening. So we still get interactions with things, and we can create new energy blocks. We can siphon off parts of our energy. So it takes constantly opening them back up, allowing energy to flow. Meditation is a thing that allows you to center and allow things to open up again. It's like a daily habit we have to do. We have to be aware of our energetic welfare, our energetic well-being. It's a lifestyle. Okay, Dandelion, I just quit coffee too. Matcha tea is amazing though. Yeah. I think, isn't matcha tea like really strong in caffeine though? I'm down to like straight herbs, which are tasty. Even decaf coffee has some caffeine in it, but I'm very sensitive in general. But also, if I wasn't working to become a good healer, using my gifts in a powerful way, potentially I would still drink a little bit of tea. I'm in a caffeine vicious cycle. Yeah, it is a vicious cycle. And I had to wean down. I've gotten off coffee and caffeine a few times in my life, and it's this like spend 3 days drinking like this much coffee, and then spend 3 days this much, and like just working your way down. But to be honest, when you give yourself enough time after you stop drinking caffeine, your body starts having more energy naturally, because I read a study that caffeine actually disturbs our deep REM cycles. So we are not getting the deep sleep cycles that we actually need to feel refreshed, because there's something about, I'd have to reread the article, but something about the way that those, the caffeine molecules like sit in maybe in the serotonin, they go into those receptors instead. Don't quote me on that, but there's something about caffeine that disturbs your REM cycles. So not only are you, it's an addictive thing because it hurts it takes your brain vessels and it expands them. Or no, it shrinks your brain vessels. So it does so many things. But when you give yourself the time after you get off it to kind of like come back into your own energy, it's amazing. You don't have those like dips and valleys. You're just like, oh, I'm awake, I'm fine. And then you can sleep really well. So it's definitely something I recommend. And but it's always a slippery slope, as I know, because I was just back on it, last few weeks ago. Slippery slope, caffeine. Caffeine makes me angry. Yeah, it makes me feel anxious. Alrighty, Salish. Well, nowadays I have to be very careful of what I eat because my stomach is being way too sensitive. Yeah, I hear that. I feel like I am incredibly sensitive too. I am very, very careful of what I eat, which is kind of a bummer, especially moving to Austin where it's like a food capital. Lots of good food here, but yeah, gotta be cautious. Wonderful. Let's see, if I detox my liver, it seems to help with everything emotional. Irene. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't done a liver detox before. Do you do just a diet change for that, or do you do like a herbal, I guess a herbal cleanse for that? Read up on Chinese liver qi. Cool. Oh, herbal. Okay. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, maybe I'll look into that. There are a lot of things I gotta look into now, though, huh? So this week I need to figure out something for the empaths in a group space for us. I'm moving energy through the liver. Yeah, I'm interested in that. There's so many really cool things, so many healing modalities, and there's such deep studies too. Yep. Wonderful. It's the center. It's the center, not the heart. Oh yeah. In that one. Yeah, I haven't really studied the different, again, there's so many healing modalities. It's so cool. Especially with really long history studies. Obviously in Western culture, there's not like these long history studies on things. We have to go into other longer historied places. Cool. Well, I'll probably close up this one today. I am going to do another live next Friday, same time, same office. Hopefully different camera and different microphone. Yeah. Please, if you have not subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. You can like this video, share it with friends. You can always help spread the joy. And if any of you are in Austin and you'd like a in-person healing, you can let me know that. Irene, thanks so much. I pray everyone has a great week. You too, Irene. Yes, thank you, Salish, Dandelion, Francesca, Irene, Taylor, thank you. Yes, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week too. And I'll be working on the empath and a guided meditation for seeing auras. Woo! Wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you all so much for coming. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you.